Okay, it's not really that impressive. Hi everyone, Antoine the Fantwan here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new Future Islands album, The Far Field. These guys are a North Carolina synth-pop trio. Been listening to their stuff since about like 2010 now. And while I have enjoyed their music up until this point, they've never dropped a record, in my opinion, that was mind-blowing. Oh my god. I mean, even their last album with the title seemed to be an admission that this is just kind of like, you know, a collection of kind of cool, catchy tracks we did. But, you know, still I'm kind of holding on to this hope that one day Future Islands will come through with some sort of musical masterpiece. And the reason I feel that way is I think that they have the talent to make that happen. Despite the band's shortcomings in the past, on every Future Islands record that I've heard, I hear a great sense of melody, an appreciation for groove, some good hooks, passionate songwriting, and some amazing lead vocals from the band's frontman, Sam Herring. Now, my issues previously with Future Islands music have been that their records are a little one-dimensional, or the recording is kind of rough around the edges, muddy and flat. But much of that seems to be a thing of the past on this new record over here, because this is Future Islands' best recorded and mixed album, hands down. The synths, the drums, the bass, the vocals, it all shines through on this record very vibrantly. And now that the production on this record is better, I feel like the band's influences are shining through much more as well. People who are into artists like Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, The Human League, you know, there's definitely a New Romantics vibe on this album that now that I kind of pick it up here, it seems like it's always been present in some kind of way, shape, or form on Future Islands' previous records too. There's even a track on this record that features vocals from Blondie's Debbie Harry, which, if that's not an admission of what inspires Future Islands music, I don't know what is. And it's actually a pretty decent performance between Sam and Debbie, considering how awkward I thought some of the vocals came off, like with the recent material Blondie has been putting out. And on the song Candles, Future Islands kinda like inadvertently wrote a reggae track here. The one thing that's missing is that guitar that's, you know, just kind of ching, 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 just emphasizing the upbeat. Just imagine that guitar in your head as you're listening to numerous parts of this song, and you'll hear it. You'll hear that reggae vibe coming through. I won't say I like it. It's certainly different. The band does take a couple tiny risks on this album here and there. The pretty good string sections on the song Aladdin at the opening of the album. Very faint, but, you know, they add a little bit of color. The second track on the record has some faint horns that are sort of thrown in there for just a little bit of extra sound. There was a track on here that sort of hit me with a disco-flavored beat. Future Islands have never really quite gone that hard sort of on that sound before, in my opinion. And on the track Through the Roses, this track has a really kind of linear, building, intense climax at the very finish that I like quite a bit. But the bulk of this album, and even some of these tracks I just mentioned, in a lot of ways is just kind of Future Islands as usual. And really to a fault in a way. And it's not just that Future Islands have delivered yet another synth-pop album, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Synth-pop, there's quite a bit of room in that genre for growth and progression and invention, reinvention. There are numerous artists in the genre that have multiple classics under their belts. New Order, for example, you know, almost reinvented themselves with every record. My issue with Future Islands on The Far Field, though, is that they are totally intent on writing songs with the same very tight, narrow formula again and again and again and again and again. It's very rare on this album that the band veers away from the driving bass lines and the dancing synth arpeggios and the steady drum machines that back almost every track they write. I have a sneaking suspicion that some of the drum beats on this record are only slight variations of ones that the band has worked with in the past, or maybe even recycled versions of ones that the band has worked with in the past. Top all of this with Sam Herring's very raspy, fiery vocal delivery, and you have Future Islands' trademark formula. Now it's here in high definition for all to hear. But I guess for me personally, the impact doesn't seem that significant because at this point, the band has already shown all of their cards. In the case of Sam Herring, I know that he is way more versatile vocally than you would guess just by listening to a Future Islands album, because he pretty much approaches nearly every song with the same singing style. For sure, in some ways, this album feels like a minor adjustment and an improvement on what Future Islands have done on their past several records. But clearly the band is not taking full advantage of the fact that not only have they explored these sounds nearly to death by now, but also the new, refreshing recording quality that they have at their disposal, they're not really taking full advantage of it. Even in the moments that you do hear some extra instrumentation worked into the mix, it's so quiet it's almost barely there. It just feels like an afterthought. Again, it's just really distracting at this point. Sure, I have moments where I review albums where the artist is kind of repeating themselves a little bit. They're treading some water. They're refusing to kind of evolve or try something different or take any risks. But man, it's just so... they're just an immovable object. I'm feeling a light to decent 6 on this album. Transition. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. You're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry. Just be pissed at me in the comments if you're pissed at my thoughts on this album. Links and other stuff next to my head I think you should check out. And that's the review, guys. Future Islands, The Far Field, Forever.